Hello everyone, I'm Dan from ASRV Rentals and Sales, and today we're going to be taking a look at our brand new 2024 Coachmen Pursuit Model 29SS. Today, just like always, I'll be giving you the full walkthrough inside and out, so you'll be all set and prepared when renting from us. We'll start off with the dimensions of this RV. So it is about 30.5 feet long, and we like to say it is 12.5 feet tall, so watch out for things like parking garages, drive-thrus, and tunnels. I'll continue going down the driver's side through each of these compartments, starting off with just a little storage compartment over here. Now over here is our propane tank. This should last you a good week or so before you'll have to refill it. If you do have to refill it, truck stations and campsites, they will do that for you. The propane will be for things like your water heater, your furnace, your stove and oven, as well as your refrigerator when you're not plugged in. The only reason you have to come out here is if you go out and fill it up. But you can just leave it on since your fridge runs on it. You don't want that going warm during your rental. Now your propane system will include things like your stove, oven, water heater, furnace, as well as your refrigerator when you're not plugged in at a campsite or connected to some kind of external power source. So you can leave this on since your fridge runs on it. There's no real need to come out here. Moving along, we've got our exhaust for the hot water as well as for the furnace. So of course expect them to be hot and don't put your hand there. Over here we have our TV cable inlet. So we'll give you all the hoses and cords you'll need for your rental. I'll go over that later. But all you want to do is just take the small black wire, just hook it up in here, hook up the other end at the post at your campsite, and you can get cable TV. If you don't have cable hookup, that's all right, because we also have an antenna equipped in this RV, so you can find local channels through the air instead. That's opposed to our city water inlet over here. This will be for when you're at a campsite or you have an external pump and you want to use their water instead of the water from your tank. So if you take the same hose but you hook it up to this inlet instead, it will bypass your water tank and it'll go straight into your pipes. Our next compartment is our dumping station. So here I can show you how to dump out your black and gray waste tanks. All I've done so far is I've taken the sewer hose that we'll give you and I hooked up the end with the teeth onto this dumping outlet over here. Then you can take the end with the elbow and stick this in the ground at your sewage or wherever else you're dumping. Now from there we have two color-coded valves for our two waste tanks. We have our black valve for our black tank, that's our toilet water, and we have our gray valve for our gray tank, that's our sink and shower water. So right now they're pushed in, which means it's closed. All you want to do is once you hook it up, pull it out to open. So I'd recommend you open up the black one first and then the gray one to kind of flush out your hose afterward. There's a control panel inside the RV that tells you how full or empty each of these tanks are. So once they're empty, you can just push them back in to close them, unscrew your hose, and you're all good to go. Next to the dumping station, we have a little outside shower faucet and knobs. So this is just to wash off dirt or sand before you head inside the RV again. And we also have a tank flush valve. You won't have to worry about this. It just helps us sanitize the waste tanks for the next customer. Next up here we have our generator. So the generator is basically a substitute for when you're not plugged in at a campsite. This is going to run on engine gas, so as long as you're at least a quarter tank full of gas, this will work for you. Everything can be handled inside. However, sometimes if you run too much at the same time, for example, both AC units and the microwave, sometimes it's a little bit too powerful for the generator and it might cause it to trip. The only reason you'd have to come outside and do anything with the generator here is in that case. In case it trips, you're just going to take the top off like that. So in case you run a bit too much on the generator, one or both of these breakers will flip backwards. So all you want to do is just flip it back towards you, and that is it. Everything else for the generator is handled inside. The generator, like when you're plugged into a campsite, or shore power as we call it, will be for your major electrical appliances. That'll be your AC units on the roof. You have two of them for this RV. You have your microwave, your TVs, and all of your power outlets behind the front cab. Speaking of external power sources, we have our 50 amp cord over here. So once you're at a campsite, this will be your electrical connection. So this end is already connected to the RV, so you just want to take this end with the 4 prongs. This is a 50 amp service RV. You're just going to plug this into the post of your campsite, and all of your electrical appliances inside will be working. You won't have to worry about your generator at all. So you can run all the AC units, microwave, whatever you'd like. We do provide 50 amp to 30 amp adapters. So in case you're going to a campsite where you don't have 50 amp, but 30 amp instead, which is just these 3 prongs, you can just stick this onto the end here. Be warned, however, it is probably not as powerful as a 50 amp, of course. So not all the electrical appliances will work together. And now on to the back of the RV. There's just a couple things for me to mention here. We have our gas inlet here, so this just takes regular 87 gas, no premium or diesel for this. And the tank is going to be 80 gallons for this. You have your rear view camera up top here, so once you put the RV in reverse, it will pop up on the display for you in the front. And then lastly here we have our ladder that goes up to the roof. It's just for service purposes, so please don't go up there. And now onto the passenger side of the RV. This is mostly storage. Starting off with this one right here, this is quite big. And it's also where we've placed all of the hoses and cords that we'll give you during your rental. So this here is the sewer hose that I just showed you for the dumping station. This little bag here has a couple other things. We have our white hose here. This is our water system hose. So this will be for the fresh water and the city water inlets. We have our black wire here. This is our TV cable. And then we even have a 30 amp to 15 amp adapter, which is just like a regular power outlet. So this will be even less powerful than the 30 amps. So if you really needed to, you could go 50 to 30 to 15, but it will not be anywhere near as powerful as a 50 amp connection.
1, 2, 3.
Moving along, this RV is equipped with an outside kitchen. So we have a bit more storage space over here. We have our refrigerator here. This will only work if you are plugged into your campsite or your generator is running. And we have a sink here. This little switch here is our drain pump. When it means do not run without water, just make sure you have water in your tank and you have your water pump on. I'll talk more about that later. Or you're connected to city water at your campsite. So this is just to drain the sink. And then we have our winterizing outlet. You don't have to worry about this. It just helps us winterize RVs in the winter. Below the kitchen, we actually have a propane outlet. So if you have something like an external grill at your campsite, you can hook it up to here and it will take it off that giant propane tank on the driver's side. Next up, we also have an outside TV for this. So just like the fridge over there, you want to make sure that you are plugged in to an external power source to shore power, or your generator is running for this to work. Below that, we have another storage compartment. And we have one final storage compartment over here. So that concludes the outside portion of this walkthrough, so we can head inside here. I'm just gonna put my thumb right over here and just pull on it like that. That is the easiest way to open it up. And then we have our screen door over here. This detaches from the cabin door, and it just clicks in like that. So at the entrance, we have a couple of switches and other items. We have our fire extinguisher over here for safety. We also have a smoke detector up top on the ceiling, and a carbon monoxide and propane detector in the kitchen. We have our entry light here, which is just the ceiling lights near the entrance. We have our awning light here. This is just the LED strip for the awning outside. And speaking of the awning light, we have the awning itself here. I can just push down on this button to extend and retract the awning. So this goes out about 8 feet total. It's only for shade, so if it gets windy or rainy, we ask you to bring it back in immediately. The awning runs on the house battery, which is actually controlled by this little dial here to turn it on and off. The house battery is for very minor electrical things, so the lights, awning, slide out, water pump, stuff that you won't need to be plugged in or have the generator running for. It'll be charged in a lot of different ways, so when your engine's running, when your generator's running, when you're plugged in to a campsite, that will all charge the house battery. So you can leave it on, unless you plan on like walking away from your RV for several days at a time, it won't die on you. This awning also has a safety feature. You want to make sure that your keys are out of the ignition and the parking brake is on for this to work. And we also have a step or puddle light over here. Here I am near the bathroom in the inside of this RV, where we have our control panel. So this is pretty much the most important part of the inside of the RV. So this will tell you everything you need to know about the inside and the outside of the RV. I'll start off in this corner here. We have the levels of all of our tanks. So as I push down on each of these buttons, they will light up from empty to full. So for example, battery is our house battery. I was just talking about that. You can see that is full. Fresh is our fresh water. I'm pushing that down. You see that's full as well. Black 1 and gray 1 are the ones you have to worry about. There is no black 2 or gray 2. That would be if it had a second bathroom, but there's only one bathroom for this RV. So pushing down on black 1 is our black tank. You can see that is empty. Our gray tank is at 2/3 right now. And then lastly, we have LPG, which is our propane. I'll push this down. You can see that is full. Below that, we have a switch for the water pump. So you want to switch this on. You can see that little red light turns on. That means you can draw water from your own tank. So if you want to use the sink, shower, toilet, you want to make sure that you have the water pump on before you use it. If you are plugged into city water, however, at a campsite and you're using their pump and not your own, you actually want to have this off. So in other words, if you are plugged into city water, make sure that this water pump switch is off and the light is off as well. Next up, we have two different ways to heat up your water. If you're not plugged in and you're just on the road, we can use LP gas, that's our propane. So I'll just switch this on. It'll take 10-15 minutes at most to heat up your water. And of course, it'll be constantly draining your propane, so only keep it on when you need it. If you are plugged in at a campsite, we can use electricity instead just to save that propane. Next up, we have this little switch here. So if I switch this on, it will allow you to use your TV antenna as well as the radio in the front cab. If you're plugged into cable, however, at a campsite, you want to have this to the park setting. We have the switch for the slide out, so this entire driver's side comes out here. It's actually completely out for you right now. So this is the biggest that the RV gets in the inside. So all I did was just push down out and it will extend for you. Just make sure that your keys are out of the ignition and the parking brake is on, just like the awning, for this to work. Next up, we have the switch for the tank heater. You want to have this on if you are going to a place where it is below freezing. So switching this on will use a bit of your house battery and propane to keep your waste tanks warm so they don't freeze over. And lastly, in the middle here, we have our generator. So this number will tell you the total number of hours the generator has been running ever since it was manufactured. So right here it says 0.7 hours, and it'll just keep going up. So you can keep track of how many hours you're using that way. Ask that you keep the generator on for no more than 3 hours at a time, and then have it off for about 2 to 3 hours just to prevent it from overheating. To turn on the generator, you're actually going to hold down stop first to prime it until this red light turns on here. That means it's ready. I'm going to hold down start, and there you go. Now the generator is on. You're going to wait about 30 seconds, and then when you hear the microwave beep, that means that everything is working. With the generator on, I can show you how to find channels on your TV. So all I did was just press the power button here. I'm going to go right over to the setting icon, go down over to live TV, just press that, and then channel scan, click next, and it'll take 5 minutes to find channels for you through the air. Also with the generator on, I can show you your AC unit with the thermostat here. So it's quite simple. All you want to do is just keep pressing the mode button to cycle through the different modes. So you can see right now it says off. It's off right now. I'm pressing it once. Over to fan, you'll hear the fan turn on. It's just the fan, so not the AC. I'll press it one more time. You'll see the snowflake goes on over here. This is your AC for the compressor. So you can just press temperature to go up or down to set your desired temperature. Fan here will control the fan speed. I'll press it one more time. Heat pump, you don't have to worry about that. I'll go for furnace here. So now it is using your battery and your propane to heat up your RV. Again, use the buttons here as you see fit. And then press it one more time, it'll go back to off. To turn the generator off, all you want to do is just hold down stop for a few seconds. Here we are in the back of the RV. So this is our master bedroom. We have our queen bed, a lot of storage up and over, and as well as on the other side, we have little poles in there so you can hang clothes. We have our TV, and we have a little sliding privacy door. The bedroom has its own AC unit as well, so the thermostat here is exactly the same as in the living room. And then we have our sliding privacy doors, just like that. Below the control panel, we also have a little coat closet here. To my right on the passenger side, we have our bathroom here. So starting off with the toilet here, it's kind of like an airplane toilet. If you want to push down on this pedal here just to flush it down, make sure your water pump is on or you're plugged into city water. Now's a good time to mention that you should get RV Marine dissolvable toilet paper instead of just regular toilet paper. You can get it at the camping section at Walmart, or campsites will also sell it. During your rental, we'll also provide you with this use as needed solution. You can just pour that down the toilet just to freshen up the black tank in case the smell ever comes up. And apart from that, you have your standard sink, shower, and toilet. Now across from the bathroom, we have our kitchen area, starting off with our fridge here. You just have a little safety latch here. So this is a pretty big fridge for an RV. This is running on propane right now. So when you're not plugged in, you're just driving, it's running on propane. When you do plug in at a campsite, however, it will automatically switch over to electricity. So no matter what, your fridge will stay on your entire rental and your food will remain cold. We have our microwave over here, so just a standard house microwave. I'd recommend not to run both AC units in the microwave at the same time when you're on a generator. Just be careful for that. We have our light here, and below that we have our stove. So this runs on propane. We have our 3 knobs for the 3 burners here, and our pilot light here. So you just set any of these to high, and then just hit the pilot light to spark it. This little button here is our night light, and this knob here is for our oven. So just like the stove, you just set it to the whatever temperature you'd like, or the fire option here. Hit the pilot light, and then once enough propane gets in the oven, it will light up. And we have our standard kitchen sink here, a lot of storage up and below. Moving forward, we have our living area. So we have our sofa and our dinette with 2 seatbelts for each of them. Both of these will turn into beds, and I'll show you that now. The sofa is the simpler one. You just want to pull it up and out like a futon. Like this, and then just push on the back here to flatten it. And now for the dinette area. First, you just want to lift up these cushions here on either side. With the cushions out of the way, there's a little latch over here. You just want to flip it to the left here to unlock the table. It'll allow it to be moved. I'm just going to push down on it gently until it rests on these ledges over here. And lastly, we can lay our cushions across the top here. They should fit perfectly. And here we have our bed. We have our overhead bunk over here. So we actually have 2 little latches on either side. I'm just going to push on them to unlock it and release it on either side. Now I can just push it down like this. And the final step, just bring this mattress down like this. And when you push it back up, make sure it clicks on both sides so it stays in place. To use the windows, you just want to push this latch upward and pull it out like this. You can also pull out your screen door if you'd like. Push it down to lock it. And for the blinds, they're just pull down and push up. During your rental, we'll also give you this envelope with a lot of useful things. We have our QR code, so you can just scan this. It should answer most questions you have during your rental. In case that is not helpful enough, we also have our 24/7 roadside assistance number via Coachnet. So you can give this number a call. They can help you with anything, even send a tech out to your location. So this is your go-to number if you have any problems. We also have some extra fuses for the fuse box in case anything happens. The fuse box is in the bedroom underneath the bed. And we have our registration in this envelope as well. Here we are in the front cab. I'll just go over the keys really quick. The ones you should be concerned with are the key for the engine, of course. The purple key here is going to be for your cabin door to enter, and your gray key here is going to be for the outside storage compartments. We also have our own contact information here, our address, phone number, in case you need to contact us about your rental itself. The center console here is very much just like a regular truck. We have our AC system over here. You want to switch this on if you want to use your radio, map light, or just the 2 lights above our head here. Generator start, you can actually start the generator from the front cab here if you needed to. And then auxiliary start is sort of like an emergency start if you need to start your engine with the house battery instead of with your car battery. For the center console right here, we have our radio here. We can connect our phone with Bluetooth or Android Auto or Apple CarPlay. We also have our camera here, so you can leave this on when you're driving. Otherwise, when you put the RV in reverse, you have your rear view camera, just like that. If I put the blinker on for the right or the left, we'll also have our side view cameras. The parking brake is by my left foot here, so I'm just going to push it down to engage it. And then to release it, we have a little latch over here. Here we have our leveling system for our automatic jacks. So we have some in the front and the back. So all you want to do is once you have your engine on, I'm just going to push down start here. So you see these lights turn on here. All you want to do is just press auto and then wait about 10 minutes. You'll see all your jacks come down, your RV will move back and forth a bit, and then you will be level. Before you leave, of course, make sure to press retract all jacks. It'll take another few minutes to bring them all back up. And then just go outside and spot, make sure all your jacks are fully up before leaving. And that will be all for our brand new 2024 Coachmen Pursuit Model 29SS. I'm Dan from Ace RV Rentals and Sales, and have a great trip.